Ninjago's 11th season, or Secrets of the Forbidden Spinjitzu, marked a new age and a new era for Ninjago. It was the beginning of the 11-minute era. It was the beginning of Wild Brain actually animating the show. There was also new writers coming in to help out with the production of the show. And there was just a lot of changes going on, but still, the LEGO sets persisted. And of course, when LEGO sets persist, we get a new wave of Ninjago outfits, and I have been doing a series on my channel where I cover every single suit wave that the ninja have had. And of course, like I've implied, today we are looking over the season 11 outfits. These suits became the standard for Ninjago for a while after this point. The ninja only changed outfits for a special circumstance, so these ones have a mainstay in the show and have definitely become iconic. But do the minifigures hold up? Are they good? Are they worth your time? Should you go and get them? That is the main question for today, and I am definitely going to try my best to answer them. So we're going to go through the 6 ninja and their suits from that season, and of course also take a look at the Master Wu that did accompany them. I'm just going to go through them as I would just go through any other Ninjago minifigure. And of course I want to know, do you own these ones yourself? I would love to know, because I definitely do think these are something special. But let me not waste any more of your time, and let's look at these suits. And here they all are together. They are all sporting their own unique suits this time round. This is obviously something that has become the standard, but occasionally the ninja do go to a more unified approach. But these ones all have their own unique identities and personalities. No two suits are the same here, and I absolutely love it for that. Each of them do have features that are crossing over from the previous line, being Legacy 1. For one, the main thing is actually the hoods. All of the ninja have retained those hoods with some minor variations depending on the ninja. Kai, Jay, Zane and Lloyd all just received elemental symbols on the crest of the hood. However, in contrast, Cole actually changed a part of the hood from brown to orange with the symbol, and Nia got an entirely new colour. Instead of the red and blue, she actually got grey and blue, and also of course the symbol. But the other big addition this time round actually did come in the form of their new shoulder armor. This is a completely new piece and actually is fairly unique. This also does stay around for a fairly long time. But this shoulder pad is a larger one on the right side of the ninja instead of a typical one single-sided shoulder pad, which is usually on the left. And instead of storing 2 katanas, this one does store 1, and does also come in other color schemes. But this one has honestly become iconic, and honestly potentially one of my favorites of all time. But let's now actually look at them more specifically. Starting off with Kai, his outfit is a lot more simpler for this line. It is a majority red, but it does have some aspects of dark red and also some brown belts and some more tan looking patches to go across it. I do generally like the design of this minifigure, even though initially speaking, I actually didn't really care for this one. It just looked a little weird to me, but I've definitely come around to it within the recent time. I think the problem that I had when I first initially saw it is that the torso does just feel a little too bland, and to an extent it does still feel that way, but I just kind of like what it is. The main thing for me is that it just feels like underneath the belt pieces there's just not really much going on. Where other suits may have lining and detailing, this one just doesn't really have that. It does have the elemental symbol of fire on his back, but honestly I do think that the front was just missing a little bit of something, but again I just don't overly mind. Of course it's a season 11 ninja, and during season 11 they did all receive the weapons that they still use to this very day. In Kai's case it is a blade with a red crest going around it, and it does look absolutely amazing with this version of Kai. I really do like how it looks, and it definitely does feel suited for him. I do like the fact that they also took him back to 1 blade, because during the Oni trilogy he was using 2. So I definitely do like this aesthetic, and it definitely does fit perfectly being the gold alongside the red. So I do think on an overall it is just a very solid Kai. I don't have any major problems with it nowadays, but I definitely do see the argument as to why you may not like it, because I do actually have that opinion at one point in my own life. I would be very curious to know if people still don't like it, because I would like to know why, because I probably agree. But yeah, I don't mind this one anymore. I think it's just solid for what it is. It's definitely not my favorite of the bunch, but it's there. The second minifigure up today is going to be Jay. I really do like what this Jay has to offer. The main standout of this minifigure is the harness that he does have on his torso, and I do think it provides a lot of good contrast for the minifigure. Having that grey go across and also have those yellow patches and badges on it, I do think is an amazing touch. It also has a smiley face, so clearly he's very happy, but I do just like it beyond that. The implementation of dark blue is also a fantastic add-on for it. The J minifigure does actually solve the problem I had with the Kai. Even though you can see that there is a big plain patch of blue when it does go to the torso, the thing is that it does still have something. It has a bit of lining on it, it has the harness going over it, it does just make the minifigure feel a little more alive. I do think those little details are definitely what makes a minifigure, so I honestly am just very happy to see that they've actually gone through and done it. I just wish they did it with Kai over anything. Of course, weapons-wise, his Season 11 flail is an amazing addition. The blue and the gold of the weapon looks amazing with the rest of this minifigure. I do think it just gives it that complete look. I will say I'm not the biggest fan of the flail, but it does suit Jay. It's just I don't really care for it in minifigure form. But I just can't argue about the finish it does give it. I just have no notes. So on an overall, it's just another fantastic minifigure here. I don't have any issue with it, and I do think it does serve its place within this ninja team. He stands out, and he does feel unique. The harness definitely does accomplish that. So it gets a thumbs up from me, and I'm just honestly kind of glad that we got to have a very solid minifigure for Jay, because he does feel like one of the more bipolar ninja of the bunch. Third ninja up is going to be Cole, and I have to say, I love this minifigure. I love the printing and the details, and I think they go together lovely. He of course has the sleeveless look, which honestly is some of the best Coles we've ever had. But to go alongside it, you have the nice details on it, you have the belt going across the torso, and one of the biggest additions is definitely going to be the orange that is now throughout this design. Honestly, it does wonders, and it was one of the first of its kind. The added aspects of orange is just kind of what gives him that contrast. As much as I absolutely love other color palettes when it does come to Cole, I love the combination of the black and the light grey, this one just kind of works. I actually remember initially not being the biggest fan of the implementation of orange, but nowadays it's debatably one of my favorite color combinations we've seen, and I just think it works on this design. Yes, again, you could argue that the torso is a little more plain like the others, but again, this one has details going over it that I think just work. And what makes it better is definitely the hammer. This thing looks amazing with Cole and definitely does just give it that final little touch for me. I honestly just really appreciate how this design looks. I think it just flows exactly how I'd expect it to. And again, a big hammer definitely does go a long way for Cole because you would expect him to have that. And of course, he's now had the hammer for a while, but it does make me wonder what a Season 11 variant of the scythe would look like, because to an extent, I do kind of still miss the scythe. But yeah, this is definitely one of the best of the bunch for me. I think this one just really succeeds in every way, and it's not just because I'm a Cole fan, I promise. I just think it took all of the best aspects of Cole and just improved on it, and then just made some fantastic new iterations when it does come to it. I keep saying about the orange, but it really does feel like a standout here. The orange just works, and I just don't have any other way to put it. It's just, simply put, making a 10 out of 10 design somehow an 11. But yeah, Cole. To round off the original 4, we then get to Zane, and again, I absolutely love the design of this minifigure. This one again does take some interesting liberties, but for the better. Again, you get your standard, torso's a little more plain, but it's covered up by this amazing metal harness piece that goes across his torso, and the lining as well does complete it. The other big standout is the use of blue. There have been blue within Zane minifigures before, but not to this extent, and the blue hands really do make this minifigure feel unique. Combining the light blue and the white with the titanium look as well really does just feel like Zane, and you can tell because many Zanes later down the line will adopt this color scheme quite frequently. And again, it feels in similar vein to what they did with Cole. They took a color that somewhat worked and was somewhat seen before and just dialed it up to 10, and I just really appreciate that because it just works in every sort of sense. But speaking of working in every sort of sense, giving him his shurikens just make it even better, because you've got that gold, and it's the only gold on the minifigure, and it just makes it stand out even more. But giving it that white and that blue pop on the shurikens as well, just again take it up to an 11. It really does just work, and again makes this version of Zane stand out. I honestly am so shocked by how much I love this version of Zane, because I just didn't really expect it. But upon review, I just can't help but adore it. So again, we've got another instance of another version of these minifigures that I just absolutely love. One of these figures that I'm just going to cherish for a very long time and not be able to help myself and grab from my shelves and just mess about with. I just like everything that this one has to offer. I don't think there's any issues with it whatsoever, and that's honestly one of the biggest compliments you can give a minifigure. So yeah, Zane is getting another thumbs up from me. Our fifth minifigure for today is going to be Lloyd, and this is actually a fairly big departure when it does come to Lloyd. He does have, of course, your standard green and dark green, which looks absolutely amazing, but the big addition this time round is the use of this brown maroon type colour. You see it on his knee pads, you see it as a brace going across his torso, and then it's his entire right sleeve, and it looks amazing. It's such a fantastic contrast that honestly I'm shocked they haven't used more later down the line. Another fairly big and unique aspect of this minifigure is also the fact that he doesn't have gloves. Honestly, this was a massive shock initially, and I definitely didn't know how I felt about it at the time. But honestly, it feels quite synonymous now with this design. I can't see Lloyd putting on gloves when it does come to this outfit. I would like to know what decision was made to do this, but I'm not mad at it whatsoever. And again, in similar vein to what I said about Cole and Zane, it does just make this thing feel very unique, and I just absolutely love it for that. His sword just makes it even better though. The gold and the green just, it looks amazing. I love everything about it and I have absolutely no issue with it whatsoever. I think the sword just is a make or break for any Ninjago minifigure, and this one just definitely does accomplish it. Although I will say, and I've forgotten to mention this so far, there's one thing about this minifigure that makes it fairly expensive, and that's the hood. And that's because the colour of the symbol is fairly unique, and it's the only time we got to see it. Ugh. So all in overall, again, I really like this Lloyd. I think it's a fantastic addition, and I have absolutely no issue with it. It's just, I'm going to have to mention this later, the price is a big factor when it comes to this Lloyd, purely because of the mask. It is literally that's it. The rest of the Lloyd is in the cheapest Season 11 set. So I'm going to have to keep that in mind when I tell you the recommendation later on. But as of now, I do really like this Lloyd, and it does feel very unique and iconic, just simply because of what they did and how they did it. And the last ninja of the lot is Nia. This is, again, going back to what we actually got to see with the Season 7 or the Oni Trilogy type design. Going to the gunmetal grey and the blue aesthetic is amazing, and it does translate very well to this design. Also, getting a water-based harness going over a torso, it looks amazing looking. The thing that makes hers unique is that it does have blue and the elemental symbol going through it as well. Something that not the other ninja got that looks amazing on Nia. This just feels very detailed, and I really do like it. This is the colour palette that I do think works really well for Nia. I will say in recent time, I've definitely fallen in love with the azure blue that she does use, and the suits that primarily use that are absolutely amazing. But this one is definitely the case of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I love how this thing looks, and I definitely don't have any issue with it whatsoever. This was another one that I was hesitant about when it first came out, but honestly, I'm actually kind of shocked that I was ever worried, because it's just that good. And the spear just does nothing but make it better. The continuation of the gunmetal grey and the blue into the gold just looks amazing and allows this weapon to stand out. Nia's weapon will always be a spear to me. I can't believe there was a time where the main thing she had was swords. But honestly, I really do like how this adds a lot of detail to it, and honestly, it just makes Nia feel complete. I don't know if that's because she's had it for so long, but I just can't picture Nia now without the spear, and I just really like it for that. So to round it off, it's just another amazing looking minifigure, and I just absolutely love everything that it's got going for it. I like all the details, I like all the designs, and I just don't think there's any issue with it whatsoever. Honestly, I would be shocked if anyone doesn't really like this one, because I just think it works for Nia. I think it's just the best version of Nia, using a really good color palette and just a really good general aesthetic, fitting right into the team, and that's basically it for her. But we are not fully done yet, because we do need to talk about Wu. This version of Wu is a fairly major departure in terms of Wu outfits by this point in time. Wu for the most part was quite consistent in the outfits that he did have, but this one takes a lot of new differences, and I absolutely love it for it. This design has still got the white, but implements a little bit of grey, a bit of red, a bit of brown, and a bit of like a light-ish blue, and it looks absolutely amazing for it. But honestly, there is more than just colour here. This minifigure also introduced us to Wu having a cape, which is amazing to see. I think it really does complement Wu and definitely just makes him feel more like a master, makes him feel more wise, and I think that is just amazing to see. He also does have a new head print here. He has a ponytail on the back of his head, which is nice to finally see Wu get some back print in, and also he does now have sideburns on his face. I think this is a really cool addition, and one I was initially worried about as well, but honestly I can't picture him now without it. And of course the bow staff just completes it in every single sense. He looks amazing with the staff, and if you aren't displaying your Wu with a staff, I'd be honestly surprised. I will say, I personally don't because of the nature of how I display them, but if I could, I most definitely would. He looks amazing with it, and I definitely can't help but absolutely adore what he's got going for him. But the only problem with him is going to be the price, and again I will bring this up later, but he is the second most expensive Wu, only being beaten out by the Legends Wu. He is definitely pricey and up there in the grand scheme of things, and it definitely does make him more interesting when it does come to a recommendation. But again, I will get into that in a bit, because I do have some interesting thoughts on that. But honestly, I really do like this Wu. He's definitely one of my favorites, and I couldn't have my collection without him. So yeah, I honestly think we got a 7 out of 7 here. Also, I forgot to note, these are the Forbidden Spinjitzu Ninja. I was going to do a separate video on them, but I realized it was kind of pointless, so I'm just chucking them in here. The masks are the only difference. I also added on the armor personally because it's accurate. They look really cool with these masks. They're really fun masks. If you want them, get them. Cole is a little more expensive than the rest, but if you do like this specific variant, you're not going to be disappointed. But let's actually get back to the minifigures I want to talk about. So when it does come down to it, and when I look at these 7 minifigures as an overall package, do I recommend them? Obviously I have been very positive about them throughout the course of this video, and that is rightfully so, but recommending them is honestly a lot different to whether or not I actually like them. You can have extremely expensive minifigures and sets that I may absolutely love that may not be simply worth the price, and that is the main question that comes down to it when it does come to these minifigures specifically. As of the time of filming this video, you can actually get Kai, Jay, Cole, Zane, and Nia for a relatively decent price. You can get all of them for under £10, and I do think that's pretty good. But if you do want a completed collection, that is where it does become a lot more difficult, because Lloyd and Wu are fairly expensive. Wu more expensive than Lloyd, but they're both up there nonetheless, and that is what makes things difficult, because can I really recommend minifigures that are very expensive? If you are after every single Ninjago minifigure and you want to fully have a completed catalogue like I do, of course you're going to have to get them, and you won't be disappointed whatsoever, just be prepared to pay up. But if you are looking just for a line of Ninjago minifigures, I don't know, because you are going to have to pay a fair bit of money. Of course, if these are your favourite, they're iconic, they're what got you into the show, you love them so much, I guess, yeah. But honestly, if you're not fussed, you could probably skip them. Which is a shame to say, but between Lloyd and Wu alone, you're going to be looking at £60 at least? And I just don't really know if that's worth it, because the rest of the ninja would take up maybe another 30 to 40, so you're looking at £100. Unless you're really committed to these designs and you need these designs in your collection, I can't recommend them. There are so many other minifigures out there that look amazing that are much cheaper, and I think that is going to be the main thing for me. Only get them if you absolutely love them. But regardless, I still absolutely adore these minifigures, and honestly, I would like to know what you guys think like I said. Do you like them? Do you dislike them? Are you going to get them, or are they just simply out of your reach? I would love to know what you think, and honestly, which is your favourite of the lot? I would just like to know what you think, because I really do like these suits. But apart from all of that, thank you very much for watching the video, and I do hope you enjoyed. And if you did, please consider subscribing. I love discussing Ninjago with more people. And if you do want to support the channel any further, which you do not have to, you could always become a channel member and join the legends that you see on screen. Each of your support means the absolute world to me, and I cannot thank you enough. But honestly, that is about it for today, and take care. Okay,